So this is Ramya. In this video, I'm going to solve the first problem in my assignment. Let's see what is the problem. So write an efficient program to find sum of contiguous subarray within a one-dimensional array of numbers which has the largest sum. So this is our problem. So let's take an example array, which is -1, 2, 3. So I am taking an array which contains both the negative and positive numbers here, because let's say we have all positive numbers. Then we don't need much to do here, because if we have all the positive numbers, to find the largest sum, all we need to do is just add the all numbers from the index 0 to the length n, which becomes 1 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12, which is 1 plus 10 is 11, 22 and 34. So 34 becomes our answer. Then let's say we have all the negative numbers, which is like this. Then what we have to do? So if we have all the negative numbers, what would be the largest sum? We will not have any largest sum, because if we try to add any two or more negative numbers, the sum is would be the smallest number, right? If you add -1 with -10, which becomes -11, this is -11 is less than the -10 or -1. So if we have all the negative numbers, the answer would be whichever the smallest negative number that we have in the array. In this case, -1 would be our answer. So for that reason, I am assuming the array will have both the negative and positive numbers. So if you see in this array, what should be our answer? So the answer should be, if we add 2 plus 3 plus 10, this is 15, and this is -14, so I am gonna ignore it, and we have 10 here. So 15 would be the largest sum in this array, because this is -14 and we have -9 here. So how should we achieve the largest sum in the programmatical way? So what we can do is, we are gonna loop through the array, and let's assume two variables like sum and maxsum or large sum, anything. So in the sum, what we are gonna do is, we are just going to add all the numbers. We are gonna loop through the array and add the numbers like -1 plus 2 plus 3. And in the large sum, every time we go through each number, we add it to the sum, and we are going to compare the sum with the large sum. So whichever is the largest number, then we are going to assign the largest number in the large sum variable. So if you see here, we have -1 plus 2, which becomes 1. So in this case, what we have to do is, we need to ignore the -1, because if we are adding the -1 to the 2, the sum is decreasing than the 2, right? So we need to we just need to ignore the -1. So how can we do this? So one way is to, when we add the two numbers, we can check like the sum of those two numbers with the whatever the number that we are adding currently, which is 2 here. So we are gonna compare the sum, which is 1, with the 2. So if we see here 2 is the largest number, then we are going to just ignore the sum and replace the sum with the array of replace the sum with the 2. So let's write the program for this. So to write the program, I am using the JavaScript. I am writing a function with the name get largest sum. And as the parameter, we have the array here. Now let's see the corner cases. For this problem, what are the corner cases we have are if array dot length is less than 1, which means we have the null. Then what we need to do is we just return array is not valid. Or what we do if we have the array with only single number, then we don't have anything to do the sum with, right? So we can just return the only number that we have. So if array dot length is equals to 1, then what we do is just return array of 0. So as we discussed, let's declare two variables where sum and where max sum, and we are going to assign array of 0 to both of them, which is so whatever the first element we have in the array, we are going to assign that number for both of them. Now let's write the loop. We are using the for loop. So, and it's gonna start from the index 1 because we already have the index, the element in the index 0 in the sum and the maximum sum, right? So we are going to start from the index 1. So first let's write the maximum sum. What are we going to do with the maximum sum? So every time we add the element from the array to the sum, we are going to compare the sum with the maximum sum, and whichever is the largest element or largest sum, we are going to assign it to the maximum sum. So we are using, for that we are using the math.max, which is a JavaScript method, and we are going to compare sum plus array of I with the maximum sum that we already have. And what we are going to do with the sum. So we need to add each element in the array to the sum, as well as we need to check if the sum is greater if we add that element the sum is getting higher or not. Like, let's say math.max, we are going to compare sum plus array of I with array of I. So what I'm doing here is I'm comparing if we add the array of I, the current element, with the sum, and I'm comparing this sum with the array of I. Let's see with this example here. If you see here, first the sum would be -1, right? And we are adding +2, which is the second element. The sum becomes 1. What we are comparing here is this one. This is the sum plus this is array of I. This is array of I. So we are comparing the sum of these two with array of I, which is 2 here. Which is 2. So if we add both of these, the sum is 1. We are comparing 1 with 2. So whichever is the greatest number here, then we are assigning it to the sum. Here it is 2. So we are assigning 2 to the sum. So this is for the for loop. Then we are going to return maximum sum. So this would be the code for our problem. Let's see this one with an example. So let's take the example that we used before, which is -1, 2, 3, 10, -14, 0 and 10. That should be enough. Now if you see the program, if array.length is less than 1, it's not less than 1, so it's not entering into this. Then if the array.length is equals to 1, it is greater than 1, so we are not entering into the this if function. Then we are declaring sum as array of 0. So the sum is -1 and the max sum is also -1. Now we are entering the for loop, and it is starting from the index 1, which is 2 here. For the max sum, what we are going to do is we are going to compare the sum plus array of I with max sum that we already have. So in the sum, so let's put all the sum here and all the maximum sums here. Here we are comparing sum plus array of I, which is -1, plus array of I, the index is 1 now, starts with 1, so that it's 2, which becomes 1. We are comparing this 1 with the -1. So 1 is higher, the maximum sum becomes 1. Then we have sum. In the sum we are comparing it with sum plus array of I with the array of I. So sum plus array of I, which is -1 plus 2, becomes 1. We are comparing it with 2, which is array of I. So 2 is larger than 1. Hence in the sum we are assigning 2. Then I becomes 2 in the for loop. So this is the first step. When I becomes 2, first we are going to check the maximum sum, right? So what is the sum now? Sum is 2. 2 plus maximum, 2 plus array of I, which is 3, because I is 2, which becomes 5, is compared with the previous maximum, which is 1. 5 is greater, so maximum becomes 5. What happens to the sum? So the sum is 2 that we have, plus 3, which becomes 5. It is compared with 3, which is array of 5. So 3 is less than 5, so sum becomes 5. Then I becomes 3. So array of I is 10 now. Then first we have to go with the maximum sum, which is the sum is 5. 5 plus 10, which becomes 15, is compared with the maximum sum that we have, which is 5. So 15 is greater. Maximum becomes 15. This here the sum. So 5 plus 10, which becomes 15. So 15 is greater than 10, which is array of I. Hence the sum becomes 15. Now I becomes 4, which is minus 14. So the maximum sum is sum is 15 plus array of I, which is minus 14, becomes 1. 1 is compared with the maximum sum, which is 15. So 15 is still greater. So we're not gonna change the maximum sum, which is going to be 15. Here for the sum, what we have, 15 minus plus of minus 14 becomes 1. It is compared with minus 14, which is array of I, but 1 is the highest number, so sum becomes 1. Then I becomes 5, which is 0. So let's say maximum and sum. So what is the maximum sum? We are going to add the sum with the array of I, which is the sum is 1 in the last case. 1 plus array of I is 0. It becomes 1, and it is compared with the array of I, which is 0. 1 is larger, hence sum becomes 1. Oh, sorry, this is sum. This is maximum sum. So the previous maximum sum is 1 plus 0, which is array of I, which becomes 1, and it is compared with the previous maximum sum, which is 15. 15 is still higher, so the maximum sum wouldn't change. It would be 15, and this is the sum. Then I becomes 6. So the maximum sum becomes sum is 1 still, plus 10, which is array of I, becomes 11. 11 is still less than the 15. 15 is the previous maximum sum. So max sum stays 15. Let's see the sum. The previous sum is 1 plus array of I is 10, which becomes 11. If you compare the 11 with array of I, which is 10, 11 is higher, so sum becomes 11. Then I becomes 7. So it already crossed the array because our array is of length 7 and we start with the index 0, right? The index exceeded the length of the array, so the loop stops here, and whatever it is in the maximum, it is returned. So at the final step we have the maximum as 15, so the output is 15. Thank you.